Assalamualaikum everyone. Our question today is an interesting one. That is, what is the price of Murabaha? Obviously, we will say the price of Murabaha can be related to the contract of Murabaha, where the contract of Murabaha will specify the rule of Murabaha, that is the pillars of the contract, namely the agent of the contract, the subject matter of the contract, the price of the contract, or the price of the subject matter, and the ijab and kabul. So when we look at the contract of Murabaha, so when we are referring to the price, we are referring to the price of the asset that were being transacted between the bank by the buying party and the selling party. And for a banking application, in a Murabaha financing, the bank would be the selling party and the buying party would be the customer. So we are referring to the Murabaha asset financing, where there is a genuine intention of the customer to own the asset that they got from the Murabaha facility. So we are not referring to commodity Murabaha or Tawaruk. We are just referring to the contract of Murabaha that is dealing with asset financing. Or it can be Murabaha by purchase order. It can be common Murabaha where there is no purchase order. But the Murabaha financing is an asset financing arrangement accorded by the bank. And in the contract of Murabaha, the pricing of Murabaha is related to the sale price of the selling price. And that will be equivalent to the cost price plus the profit margin. So we are not looking at the profit rate or the finance charge as the price of Murabaha financing, but we are referring to the sale price. When we look at the conventional loan pricing, then we see that pricing of conventional loan is dealing with the pricing of credit, and that will be the interest rate. Right? So the interest rate is the price of credit. So pricing in loan contract refer to the interest rate or the finance charges. It is not referring to the sale price because a loan contract is not a sale. It is an IOU. It is a lending and borrowing contract. So the term of contract will relate to the debt owed by the customer or by the borrower, right? What is the debt obligation of the borrowing party that is coming from the loan he received from the bank based on the stipulated finance charge, and that is the interest rate and the maturity. And we know that this is a common practice in the banking business, and the banking business is a business of taking deposit and paying deposit rate and making loans and charging a loan rate, right? So the banking firm or the banking business is the business where the Quranic al-Bay' is to be implemented, is to be transplanted, so that when we run a banking business to facilitate customer in their acquisition of liquidity or in their purchases of asset, then the Islamic banking will be able to do just that, but not using loan, but using the contract of al-Bay'. And we can see that in a loan contract, it is a straightforward facility with the terms that have been spelled out. The loan facility of $500,000 with interest rate of 5% per annum and a tenure of 10 years. So the interest margin or the interest charge will be $50,000, which is equal to the facility amount multiplied by the 5% per annum multiplied by 10 years. And with this loan facility at 5% per annum for 10 years, a debt is created from the loan. And that would be the debt obligation of the borrower, which is equivalent to the principal loan of $500,000 plus the interest charges of $50,000. So the debt created from the loan with interest is $550,000. So the loan contract will specify debt obligation of the borrowing party. And so we can see that there is no mentioning of sale, of course, because because a loan contract is not a sale. Whereas when we look at the Murabaha financing, we will see that in the Murabaha product disclosure sheet, we will see that from a facility of $500,000 and a quoted profit rate of 5% with a tenure of 10 years, the profit margin from this facility will be $50,000, which is equivalent to the facility amount multiplied by the profit rate per annum of 5 years multiplied by the tenure of 10 years, and we get $50,000 profit margin. So what would be quoted in the Murabaha facility product disclosure sheet is the sale price, right, or the selling price, which is the sum of the facility amount plus the profit margin. And that will be equal to $550,000 over here, yeah. And of course, we will see that the profit margin of $50,000 coming from the sale is halal, is permissible, because it is a sale, while the profit margin from the loan is haram, because that is riba. Any increase from a loan is riba, and therefore the riba loan is a contract that is invalid in Islam, because there is a benefit stipulated on the loan. But then when there is a benefit or profit from Murabaha involving the same term of facility, $500,000 plus with 5% profit rate per annum with a tenure of 10 years. So the profit margin of $50,000 is considered to be halal because Murabaha is a sale. But we shouldn't be comfortable with that claim, because the Murabaha as a sale must fulfill certain condition. That is, in a sale, the selling party, who is the bank, must hold full ownership of the goods before making the resale on credit. So it also means that the selling party, the bank, is expected to hold ownership risk before making the sale. So Murabaha as a sale alone is not enough, to justify the permissibility of the profit margin. That Murabaha must be able to evidence the fact that the selling party, the bank, is the legal owner of the goods, meaning that the bank must be putting the goods on their balance sheet or on their banking book, on which they would be facing what we call business risk or ownership risk or price risk before making the resale. So that will, to some extent, justify the permissibility of profit acquired from the sale, because there is an element of risk-taking based on the legal rule of al-gharam bil-ghunni or al-kharaj bil-daman. But still, in the Murabaha contract, the sale price will indicate a debt obligation, meaning that the customer holds a debt obligation of 550,000 to be paid to the bank over 10 years. So the sale price is equivalent to the debt obligation in the loan contract, right? So there must be some connectivity for us to see that the sale price is a price based on deferred payment, and therefore the customer, who is the debtor, owes the bank a certain amount of money that is equivalent to the facility amount, the cost price, plus the profit margin payable over 10 years. So the profit margin is supposed to be legitimate and lawful because there is an element of risk-taking, right? An element of ownership risk-taking, price risk-taking. Thus, we see that when a sale price is quoted in the product disclosure sheet of the Islamic bank, it directly implies that there is a sale, there is a transfer of ownership from the bank to the selling party, and prior to the sale, the bank, who is the legal owner of the asset, should be holding ownership risk or business risk of the asset in order to evidence the legitimacy of profit derived from the sale. Okay guys, we can further discuss this later on in the later videos. I'll see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Thank you.